Hi, Create a Life You Love lovers. I wanted to show you my kitties first of all because a lot of you commented on where are your kitties? So here's Gitana. Or no, actually, this is Keriko. I don't even know the name of my own kitties. Gitana's over there. This is Keriko, which means delicious in Spanish. And I got him when he was 3 weeks old, and he literally could fit like here. It was just crazy. And he's like a full-grown cat almost now. So we'll see if he'll let me talk and let me be on my own while I talk to you about. Oh, here's Gitana. There's Gitana, and she's 4 weeks older. She's the girl, and she's just absolutely precious. She's shyer, but she's like yeah, she's just and Gitana means gypsy in Spanish. So these are my two little Spanish kittens in Bali. All right, so I wanted to talk about the concept of not having resistance or being in a non-resistant state. And the reason being is that thank you so much, everyone, for posting some of the questions that you wanted me to go through. And that's what I really hope, okay, kitties, I really hope you'll keep posting what you want to hear so I can make all of these videos based on what would be most important to you, okay? I may have to put them into a room. So what was really interesting is that a lot of the questions were all about self-love. How do we co-create and how do we manifest more easily? How do we create a life we love? And all of it comes back to this really interesting concept of putting yourself into, as often as you can, a state of non-resistance. And when I discovered this about a year ago, I felt like I had found the Holy Grail, like one of the meanings of life and like a key or a secret to life. And oftentimes it's things that we have heard where you just finally, there's like a little click. So some other things that people would say is put yourself into a state of allowing, and that comes from Abraham Hicks, or the power of love, which we know in our heart, we know that everything is based on love. But sometimes that can be like so big and so ethereal that we're like, well, what does that really mean in life? And when I kind of grasped this concept, it made so much sense to me. So I really want to talk about it first because a lot of what I'll share later on will be all about this concept of putting yourself into a state of non-resistance. So I talked about it on the last little video I did about how to get yourself in a good mood, and it was all about as much as we can. And of course, this is not to negate feeling feelings, whether it's anger, whether it's irritation, because we always have to feel our feelings. But as much as we can, after we feel our feelings, return to a state of non-resistance, everything works better. Things flow to us. And one of the best examples is when you are in love, or when you're petting your kittens, or you're doing something that you absolutely love, you're in this beautiful state that the whole world seems better, and things can just flow to you that much more easily. So I gave the example that if you're in a fight with someone and you're both super resistant, your ideas and you can't even come to a solution because nothing can flow because you're so resistant to each other. Or like that rock, as I mentioned, in the middle of a river, nothing is going to be able to go through the rock because it's just so impermeable or resistant. Okay, so, but when we know that when we're in love, or we're doing things that we absolutely love, or we're petting our kittens, or we're smiling at, our beloved, we feel so relaxed and in this beautiful state that things can come to us and we can manifest more easily. And when we shift inside to this place of love, the whole world around us shifts. And we've probably heard this, but I'm going to give you at least one example. So back in November of last year, when I was trying to buy my condo in Miami, you would have thought that it would have gone so easily because I obviously had the money, had the credit, all that type of thing. But one thing after another, it just was not working out. And I was getting more and more frustrated, and I was getting more and more wound up, which was putting myself into a very resistant state. Now, what was interesting is it had a whole bunch of repercussions, and I won't even go into it, but I got really tense and I got really irritable and quite angry at everybody. So in a really resistant state, not only to myself, but everyone around me. And then I had this realization, because it was something that I'd learned a couple of months ago, probably more, probably about 6 months previous to that, before the first Create a Life You Love retreat. And it was this whole concept of putting yourself into a state of non-resistance. And I was like, I am really in a state of resistance, so I need to put myself into a state of non-resistance, and then maybe things could flow. So I lay down on my bed, and this is one of the most beautiful things is when you want to do this, if you can lay down, because naturally that actually gets the whole body relaxed. So it's almost like in Shavasana. You can do it on the ground, you could do it on your bed, wherever you want. For women, what it really does is it really softens our heart. It actually softens our womb as well, and for men, the pelvis area too. Like it's for men and women, just as much as you can soften these two energy centers and your solar plexus. That's why Shavasana works, and it's also why just laying down in corpse pose, the same thing as Shavasana, on your bed, you instantly relax. And what I did is I actually thought of all the people that were involved in this whole process, and specifically where it was getting bottlenecked with the bank that would give the loan. And what I thought of is the person that it was stuck with. I was like, maybe they're going through something with their wife, like they're in the middle of a divorce. Maybe something's going on and that I don't even know of, and that they're not able to sign all these things that had to be signed because it was just taking so much longer than it should have. So I just lay in the bed, everything relaxed, and I just sent love to this person. And I was like, what if I have no idea what's actually going on in their life? Of course, I think it's affecting me, which it is, but I don't know what's going on in their life. I'm just going to send them so much love and so much compassion. And what's so interesting is, and I have like probably 3 or 4 stories I could tell you, but I don't have space in this time of this video, of where when I've used this practice, it has shifted everything. 2 things happen. When we shift inside, magic happens around us. I mean, it's crazy. So there's that. And the really good part is that literally the next day the loan came through, which is just, like I'd gone through months of it not working. And I'd learned this concept 6 months ago. I wasn't applying it. I was just getting myself more wound up and more wound up. So when I applied it, the next day the loan came through, which is just crazy. But the other thing is, it almost doesn't matter if the loan would have come through, because I just got into this place of acceptance and it's going to be okay, because I put myself into a loving state. So sometimes even the thing that we want may not happen right away. So don't lose hope. If you do this and you're like, well, Carmen said that it was going to solve everything. It may not solve everything right away, but you have no idea how the universe as a jigsaw puzzle will all fit together. But also it just puts you into such a beautiful place that it almost doesn't even matter, because you are now no longer tense, you're no longer resistant, you're no longer angry at everyone like I was, and then everything can work better. So let me ask you a few questions. How do you know if you're in a resistant state? Well, I can't be in a resistant state when I have a little kitty playing with me. But how you can tell is, number 1, if things aren't flowing. So a really good example with this house, nothing was flowing, so obviously I was in a resistant state. Number 2, if you're irritable, if you're tense, and if you're mad at different people, it could be even the customer service person that you're talking to, I don't know, at the Apple store, whatever it is. But if you have feelings of irritability or tenseness, you're in a resistant state. And so not only can the thing that you're focused on not flow to you, other things can't as well. And then finally, how you can tell if you're not in a resistant state. Sorry if I've been saying this incorrectly. How you can tell if you're in a resistant state, you want to put yourself into a non-resistant state, is if you're not happy. And I don't mean like enthusiastically happy all the time. What I mean is that nice peaceful contentment that lets you know that you're happy. So if you're not in that happy state, and of course this goes in the face of, we need to feel our feelings. So we can't be happy or even content all the time, because there's yin and yang, and that's a whole other topic. But in general, being happy and content, if you're not, in any given moment, you're probably in a resistant state, or you're in the middle of feeling your feelings, and that's okay. But if you're not feeling your feelings, you're probably in a resistant state. And sorry if I keep mixing up resistant and non-resistant. I think you know what I mean. So those are the 3 things that can let you know if you are in a resistant state. So how do you put yourself into a non-resistant state? Because again, this is where the magic can happen. Not only when we shift does everyone shift around us, the world shifts. This is actually how we can create peace in the world on a much bigger level. But also you can co-create much more easily. You feel much better. You're going to age more better. You're going to prevent disease. There's so many benefits to it. And the most important thing is you just start feeling better, and then everything in your life works better. So how can you do that? Number 1, you can fall in love. That's will always work every time. You can have kitty cats, but on a more, if you can't have kitty cats because you might be allergic, you want to do things that you love. And that's one of the easiest things is whether, like for me, it's dance. Dance always puts me into a non-resistant state. But maybe it's singing, maybe it's painting, maybe it's like whatever makes you feel alive. You want to have that as part of your life, like a center of your life. My mantra for this year is gratitude, inspiration, centering my life around inspiration, and contribution. How can I contribute? So I'm constantly focused on what makes me feel alive, because that's going to put me always into a non-resistant state. So number one, doing things that you love, which can be falling in love, can be hanging around animals or people that you love, but the whole idea is doing something that you love. Number two is you want to bring more people into your life and more things that make you feel beautiful and good energy, and actually say no to the things that are not causing good energy in your life. If you're wondering what that noise is, the rice paddy fields, let me just show you how incredible they are. I don't know if you saw the pictures on my Facebook, it's probably been 6 weeks to maybe 8 weeks ago, but I think it's like 6 to 7 weeks. It literally was water with they hadn't even planted the sprigs yet. And check out the rice paddies now. They're like, it's like a jungle. It's crazy, eh? And those sounds that you heard of someone in the field, what it is now that the rice is almost about to be harvested, the birds can go in and eat it. So early morning and early evening, I should say, the Balinese go out there and they make noise to scare away the birds. So yeah, it's really neat being in nature where, that's a whole other topic. Okay, so let me go back to, so number one, we talked about doing things that you love. Number two, bringing more people into your life that have beautiful energy, and then actually edging out the people and the circumstances in your life that you don't feel good about. And that's something that I've been practicing this year more, like how can I bring more beautiful people into my life, which is part of the reason why I love Bali so much, because the heart energy is so beautiful here that I know when I go home to wherever else I'm living, I can bring even more to that. But no matter where you are, whether you're in Miami, whether you're in LA, whether you're in New York, whether you're in Brisbane, there's always going to be people that you can seek out that have beautiful heart energy. Bring more of those people into your life, and then say no to the people who aren't giving that same heart energy, because that really affects you, hugely affects you. And then number three is, and I alluded to this, well, actually I talked a lot about it, things like gratitude, which are very proactive, and so I'm going to talk about things that are proactive that you can do. Always, and even wealth is created this way by gratitude and appreciation. So thinking about what you're grateful for before you go to bed at night. At any moment when you start to feel tense, what are you grateful for right away? You can also follow that up with what do I want? But you start with what am I grateful for, then what do I want? There's also a lot of other proactive things you can do. For example, I want you to think something that you're tense about right now. You can put yourself into the other person's shoes and have compassion and send love to them, which doesn't mean that you let go of your boundaries. Let's say that if someone owes you money or they've done something that isn't acceptable, you can still have your boundaries, but you can still send love so that you're not in an angry state, and your love can also shift them as well. The other neat thing is if you've ever heard of divine love circles, that's a whole other story, but there's you can actually have a group of people if you're trying to change a situation where you can do it over the phone and everyone is sending love and you're actually increasing your heart energy. And this is Heart Math Institute does a lot of this, and Divine Love Circles is the work of Bob Fritchie. Absolutely amazing as well. There was a big event in my life probably about 3 years ago where Dr. Christiana Northrup, Phil and Penny Northrup Kirk, Kate Northrup, and myself, and also when Kate's husband wasn't her husband, he was her boyfriend, he was on the call as well, and we all together sent energy and love to this situation, and it was I think it was 2 days later, and it was actually solved, which is just amazing. So what does this tell us? This goes back to that love is the most powerful force. And at 43 years old, I'm only now it probably started last year, where I started to really finally get that, and it wasn't just a cliche. So I want to bring more of that into creating a life you love, because it's through love, it's through raising our vibration, through doing things that we love, that we can actually create and co-create much more easily. We are in a better place. We can shift actually what's happening in our world. And this is the way that we can create peace and happiness on a worldwide scale as well. But it all starts with us and how much love we actually feel in ourselves and how much we can actually put ourselves into a non-resistant state. So I hope that helps you. I want to leave you with thinking of one thing that you're feeling a little bit tense or irritable with. And if you can use any of these tips to think of, can I put myself into a more non-resistant state by doing things that I love, by falling in love or doing things that I love? Can I also be very proactive and send compassion if it's a person or to a situation? And then can I also be proactive and doing the other things like practicing gratitude or even doing like a divine and you can go search this if this interests you. You can go to Dr. Christiana Northrup's website. She has Divine Love Circle. You can also search Divine Love Circle by Bob Fritchie as well, and that's a beautiful thing that you can do with people. I've done, I think, that twice, but a lot of times that can take a little bit more effort, and there's so much that we can do just with ourselves. And I would really recommend, one of the biggest things is whatever it is that you are perhaps a little bit tense or feeling resistant about, even right now after this video, go onto your bed and just relax, and then let your whole body relax. So lay down on your back and then literally put yourself into the person's shoes or the event's shoes and see if you can think of, what might they be feeling? What might they be going through? How can I send them love? And regardless of what happens, whether that shifts my situation, I'm going to send them love, which will actually open our heart. And I can guarantee you, even if that situation doesn't change, other things will change in your life. All right, thank you, and please if you have any questions about this particular video, as always, please comment. Keep sending me the things that you'd like to hear. I'm so excited about this format because I feel like there's so many things I can hear from you of what you want, and then we can really tailor this to helping you and everyone create a life that you absolutely love, that is full of meaning, inspiration, joy, purpose, and all the good stuff. All right, have a beautiful evening, and I'll say goodbye from Bali. The sunset still isn't there. But you can kind of see as the sun's starting to go down. One of my friends was laughing at me as I was trying to show you the sunset. It's still not there. All right, have a beautiful evening, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now.